I'm Eric Curnutte, and we're fishing some water that has a lot of history and a lot of sentimental value to me. This is water that my late grandfather, Virgil Ward, developed. I've fished this most of my life, and I'm glad I've had the opportunity to fish this with you today.
Tell me about, tell me like generally where we are, what part of the state,
We're in.
and and also tell me how many years you've been fishing this water.
I've fished this my entire life. We're in western Missouri, near Amsterdam, Missouri, about an hour south of Kansas City.
And like you were telling me, you've been fishing this. You fished this with your grandfather for since you were just a little guy, right?
I have. I have.
Yeah,
Since before I can remember.
that's really neat. Tell me about your grandfather. Some of the things that he accomplished.
My grandfather was Virgil Ward. He was a very successful fisherman. He was the winner of the World Series of Sport Fishing. He was the host of Championship Fishing for over 25 years. It was a nationally syndicated show. He was the developer of the Bass Buster Lure Company, which developed the beetle spin, the marabou jig, a bunch of well-known lures. He was an author. He was a conservationist.
And really, Virgil was one of the pioneers of fishing, wasn't he?
He was. He was. He was one of the first nationally syndicated, um, and an influence to outdoorsmen all over the place.
Yeah. Um, what are some of the ways that Virgil used to fish these ponds and lakes? And do you still use some of the same methods that Virgil did years ago?
I do. I use a lot of the same methods that he taught and showed me. He was big with the beetle spin and some of the jigs that he developed. Also, a spinner bait, plastic worms, things like that. Pretty conventional tackle.
And this time of the year, how do you fish these lakes? We're fishing in mid March, but it's been unseasonably warm. How do you fish these early in the year? How do you fish these
Early
ponds?
in the year, I would approach with the spinner baits and plastic worms once we get the fish on the banks.
Okay, okay. How about? Do you catch fish here later on in the summer then too, or?
We do. Later on in the summer, you might have to throw some worms, slow it down for the fish once it's really hot out, and they'll be kind of found tucked under some cover, usually. Once nighttime rolls around or evening time, early morning rolls around, you can catch them top water. Spinner baits, spooks, those kind of lures.
Yeah. What's the biggest fish that you've caught out of here, and how about your grandpa?
The biggest fish I know of him catching was somewhere around 11 plus pounds. The biggest I've caught between 8 and 9.